Pages, a Love Story by Joel Adams. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. Alfred Lord Tennyson. One of the great truths in life is this: when it comes to love, there is no rhyme or reason, and love is never planned. It just happens. It just is. Joy and pain, wonder, beauty, ecstasy, tenderness, completeness, hurt, and healing, a feeling of being whole. Being in love, truly being in love, encompasses all these things, or so I've heard. The sea air is cool but comfortable as we walk up the long ramp to board the ship. My sister Anna and her husband Chad have been going on the same Mexican cruise for the past 6 years now. A few years ago, they invited me to come along to celebrate my 30th birthday. I turn 33 tomorrow, and this will be my 4th cruise with them. At first, I felt like a third wheel, like an intruder, but Anna and Chad quickly put me at ease, and I allowed myself to enjoy the trip. Now cruising is one of my favorite vacations. I have never been married, not even close, and meeting someone on a cruise ship has never been my goal, though my sister and brother-in-law would not object to companionship for me. Their encouragement is always appreciated, but their subtle attempts at matchmaking go unheeded. Their love boat plans never pan out anyway. The whole "I don't drink or smoke or have sex outside of marriage" can throw some men off. Besides, deep inside me lies a secret that I have never told another soul. You see, on that first cruise, not only did I make a friend, I also lost my heart. The recipient is someone that my sister would least expect, and the person has absolutely no clue he is the keeper of it. He probably never will. While we wait for our luggage to be taken to our rooms, we grab something to eat at the grill by the pool, which is quickly filling with bikini-clad women and a few generously tattooed men. The hot tub is occupied as well. Glancing at them, I think about the one-piece swimsuit I packed and wonder if it will finally see some sun. It has been 4 years, and I have yet to take the price tag off. It's not that I am ashamed of my body. On the contrary, I am very comfortable in my skin and happy with my 5'9" curly figure. But I've always been a private person when it comes to my body, and I never flaunt. Of course, I don't dress like a nun either. By the time we are finished eating, Chad is digesting and preparing for another round. We head to our rooms and find our luggage waiting outside the doors. We always splurge and book suites. There is no way I can stay in a cabin without a window, and the balcony, as well as the roomier interior, are a bonus. We're going back up to the pool in a bit, Anna tells me before going into their room. We will meet you later to go to dinner, okay? Sounds good. I appreciate their knowing my routine and giving me my space. After unpacking and putting my things away, I walk around the ship for a while and browse the shop windows for a bit before finding a semi-quiet spot to sit until it is time for the mandatory safety drill. This ship isn't too different from its sister ships, and I have come to know the layout well. Planting myself in a deck chair, I use this time alone to think about him. Changing into a lacy maxi dress, I pin some of my long braids up in a bun with a pair of shiny black floral chopsticks, leaving the rest to hang down my back. I quickly apply some lip gloss and spritz on some perfume. Then I study my reflection for a moment before grabbing my room key and leaving to meet Anna and Chad. We are scheduled for the 6 o'clock dinner seating in the formal dining room. Though most guests are wearing the same clothes they boarded in, I have always liked changing for dinner, just to feel a little special. Well, it may have started out that way, but now. Anna and Chad walk up just as the host crew begins seating. We know the dining area well because Anna usually requests our head server ahead of time to make sure we are seated in his section. I don't know how she manages it, but she does. Hello, Lee says jubilantly. How are you, my friends? Hi, Lee, Anna says, hugging him, followed by Chad. When it is my turn, his smile is wider, his embrace a little longer. It's good to see you, I tell him. It's good to see you, Masai. His voice is soft, his brown eyes fill with their usual warmth. We take our seats, and Lee introduces the two servers assisting him. One of them places our napkins on our laps and hands us a menu, while the other places a basket of bread on the table. Lee fills our water glasses. As usual, we are seated at a table for 4 instead of sharing one of the large round ones seating larger groups. How have you been, Lee? Chad asked. I have been good. Life is still the same. Nothing changes. I don't know how you handle such a grueling schedule, Anna says. Been doing it for so long, it is life. I am used to it. How have you all been? As the three continue to chat, my mind drifts. Lee Batang. After my first cruise, I looked up the meaning of his last name and found out it means goodness. Yes, it was a random thing to do, but the meaning is very fitting. Lee was born and raised in the Philippines. He had only been married to his wife for less than a year when she passed away from botulism 10 years ago while he was away working on a cruise ship. They had no children, and for many years, Lee harbored deep guilt because he had not been there for his wife. He is an only child, and his parents now live in the United States. In fact, this past January, they moved from Lansing, Michigan to Provo, Utah. He was raised a Buddhist, but he and his parents are now Christians, having joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints 9 years ago, something that Lee and I have in common. Living his faith on a cruise ship is difficult, and though he manages, it has troubled him for a long time now. I learned many of these things through his emails that I never told anyone I receive, emails that I still receive every month. As Anna and Chad give one of the assistant servers their order, I discreetly watch Lee greeting another table. At 40 years old, Lee is not what the world would consider handsome in the conventional sense. Standing a couple of inches shorter than me, he is lean and slightly muscular. His full head of black hair is balding a little in the back, and his face bears the typical Filipino features. His wide eyes are framed by thick dark lashes, and his lips are full and perfectly shaped. No, he may not be drop-dead gorgeous in a worldly way, but when he smiles, his eyes sparkle and his face lights up the room, and he is beautiful to me. Your order? The server, Norwood is his name, repeats. Embarrassed and hoping he hadn't noticed where my gaze had been fixed, I give him my order. Dinner time is always my favorite part of the cruise, but not for the food. Sure, the food is wonderful, but food is nothing when Lee is at our table. When he is here, laughing and joking with us, I taste nothing. I cherish these times, as well as the few moments here and there that I see him during the cruise, and especially the moments after his shift. Though Lee is considered part of the kitchen crew, his friendship through the years with high-ranking crew members has had its privileges. His position on this ship is as permanent as he wants it to be, his years with the company earning him his own stateroom below when most have to share with a roommate. Chad had not been exaggerating when he said Lee's schedule is grueling. Most of the cruise ship workers work 7 days a week from early morning until late at night, having just enough time to sleep and maybe do a batch of laundry and write an email or two. Lee is usually in the formal restaurant in the mornings and evenings, though it is nearly impossible to see him in the mornings. During lunch, he helps out in the buffet restaurant. The workers keep the schedule for 10 months out of the year. They are off for the other 2 and usually go back home to their families. I honestly don't know how they do it, but as Lee said, they get used to it, and I treasure the few stolen moments I get to speak with him. And they are indeed stolen, because it is, after all, against the rules for the crew to mingle with the guest. When we have finished our appetizer and main course, I order my usual, the signature chocolate melting cake with a scoop of ice cream, and as usual, Lee is there to serve me, adding an additional scoop of ice cream because he knows how much I love it. I savor the combined flavor of the creamy chocolate and the vanilla ice cream, and I thank him again for always taking care of me. All too soon, dinner is over, and it is time for us to leave so we can make it to the early variety show. We tell Lee and his assistants how much we enjoyed the meal and thank him for serving us, to which he always responds, "You will always be my favorite guest, and I consider you family." Then we hug him and we say we will see him tomorrow. I try to disguise the longing in my gaze. The last thing I want to do is ruin a perfect friendship by giving away how far I have crossed over the emotion line. He smiles. "I will see you." The variety show is a tribute to Motown. The talent is good, and for a short while I am taken back to my childhood when Mama would play old Commodores, Diana Ross, Donna Summer, and Michael Jackson cassette tapes. She would teach Anna and I dances that she and Daddy knew. We knew more 70s music than most of the kids our age in my neighborhood, but I grew to love more than just Motown. Many a night I fell asleep listening to the Bee Gees, Bread, James Taylor, Barbra Streisand, England Dan and John Ford Coley, and Barry Manilow. I have always loved the classics. As soon as Barry Manilow enters my thoughts, the lyrics to Weekend in New England fill my mind. I have always thought it a sad song, and when I was a teenager it would make me cry, but I still loved it. I still do love it. The song is about saying goodbye to someone you desperately love and longing to be with them again. It is about living for the moment you can see them and touch them again. And I know the feeling well. For the first 3 years, I have lived. For these past 3 years, I have lived all year, every year, to see Lee again, to talk to him and feel his embrace. The friendly hugs and his emails always carry me through to the next year. I admit that I am a sad case because I know nothing will ever change. Lee will always work the cruise ship. It is his career. I am just a woman who is lucky enough to sit at his table and become his friend. Lost in the memories of my moments with Lee, my mind drifts back to one memory in particular. One year, Lee got to spend an hour on Catalina Island, and for the half that hour, we sat on a bench and just talked. Because of the crew passenger rules, I couldn't sit as close to him as I would have liked, but just being with him, soaking in the morning sunshine as the sound of the waves lapped the shore, was enough. 2 years ago. "You are probably looking forward to your upcoming vacation," I said. "I am. Got any big plans?" "Not really, just spending some time with my parents." He paused, his expression thoughtful. "More than anything, I look forward to attending church." "I can't begin to imagine how hard it must be for you, only being able to attend Sunday meetings 2 months out of the year. That would be so hard. But I'm sure the members are glad to have you there when you are." "I think so. My mother and I usually attend the temple once a week while I'm home." "That's great. I attend weekly too." "Really?" I nodded. "My week doesn't feel complete without it." I smiled, watching the way the wind ruffled his hair. He was wearing a yellow polo and jeans, and I love seeing him in civilian attire. Of course, I miss a week whenever I come on a cruise. His smile widened. "I am glad that you come, and I am sure God understands." Then his expression sobered. Maybe one day I will have the good fortune of attending the temple with you. I would like that. That had been the biggest understatement I had ever spoken. To attend anything with Lee would be wonderful. It would be a dream come true. When the show is over, Anna and Chad turn in for the night because we will be getting up early to take the shuttle boat over to Catalina Island. Instead of going to bed, I take a stroll out on the deck, taking a seat in one of the vacant areas. Everyone is either inside partying or at the pool. I stare up at the full moon for a while and wait, feeling the longing Barry Manilow sang about, allowing it to carry me away for these solitary moments, because in a little while the longing will need to be locked away again, buried deep, undetectable. I am very good at it. I have had a lot of practice. Masai? I stand as he approaches. How did you know I would be here? I teasingly ask. He chuckles. I just knew. I grin, glancing at my watch. It is almost 11 already. I guess I lost track of time. His mouth curves. I'm glad. I always worry about you needing your sleep. A half hour won't matter. He gestures to the chair and I sit back down. He moves another chair closer and sits. I definitely prefer sitting when I am with him, because even though I am wearing a shorter heeled pair of sandals, they still elevate my height slightly. Whenever I am with Lee, I am more conscious of my height, even though he tells me he likes that I am statuesque. I am very happy to see you, he says. I'm happy to see you too. He looks out over the water a moment, his gaze serene in the moonlight. He quietly watches the sea, and I silently watch him. His eyes finally meet mine again, and we began to talk a little, filling in the parts of our day-to-day lives that our emails don't. Since our time is short, we don't waste a moment. In your last email, you said you quit your receptionist job and are doing photography full-time. I'm happy you can now do what you love. Me too. It took a while, but now that my portfolio is sufficient, the jobs are steady, and I set my own schedule. It's been fun. Good. It's important to enjoy your job. You should know, Mr. Headwaiter, I say, grinning, and he laughs. You have a great career. I do, he agrees, pressing his hands together. I watch the veins move beneath his skin. Can't beat the benefits and the perks, I'm sure. I wonder if it is just my imagination or if he's a little somber tonight. I decide he is probably just tired. When he grows quiet again, I stand. We should probably go. We both have to get up early, and I don't want to keep you from getting the sleep you need. He stands as well, surprising me by reaching for my hand. Tomorrow is your birthday. I have something for you. Really? You don't need to get me anything. He squeezes my hand, then he releases it and presses his hand against my face, and for a moment I forget to breathe. Meet me here tomorrow night, please. I will come as soon as I can. I have never seen his eyes so imploring. I would do anything for him, anything he asks. I will be here, I promise. Brushing a thumb over my cheek, he nods and walks away. After a night of very little sleep, I wander in and out of various Catalina shops with Anna and Chad. When Anna comments on me dragging this morning and asks if I'm okay, I assure her that I am fine, just a little tired. I'm glad it's not a migraine, Anna says, and I can hear the concern in her voice. She remembers all too well the debilitating migraines I used to get, especially when I was sleep-deprived the night before. I used to run on 3, sometimes 4 hours of sleep a night because of insomnia. Now, thanks to large doses of melatonin and valerian, I usually get a good night's sleep. Usually. I haven't had a bad one in a long time, but I keep updated prescription pain medication handy just in case. Wanting to ease her mind, I purposely perk myself up. It is my birthday, and perkiness is expected. It was indeed a long night, the sleepless moments filled with thoughts of Lee, reliving his touch over and over and asking myself what it all means. Shaking my head, I focus my thoughts on the present and enjoy my time with my sister and brother-in-law. I purchased a few clothes that I really love, and Anna and Chad buy me a gorgeous leather purse for my birthday. We walk down to the beach, and Anna and Chad decide to take off their shoes and wade in the water along the shore. I get out my camera and take a few pictures of them. Anna will most likely frame them when we get back home. She always does. She has never been into scrapbooking. She is into framing. And her family room walls are covered with vacation photos, from vacations they have taken with their 3 kids to the ones she and Chad have taken alone. There are also, of course, cruise photos of the 3 of us. I've mentioned frequently that she needs to take up scrapbooking because when the big one finally hits Salt Lake City, those frames are history. She never appreciates the reminder. When Chad begins to chase Anna with a big old piece of seaweed, she screams, threatening him at the top of her lungs with all manner of bodily harm, and I am soon laughing so hard I can't hold the camera still. "Those 2 are something else," a masculine voice says. Chuckling, I turn to him. He is a fellow passenger from the ship. "They are about as crazy as they come," I agree. "I'm Jake," he says, putting out his hand, and I shake it. "Masai." "Good to meet you, Masai." "That's an interesting name." "Yeah, well, I have interesting parents, as testified by my crazy sister over there." He laughs. "Must be a fun family." "You have no idea." He laughs again. "Well, I'm heading back. It's good to meet you. Maybe I'll see you later." "Good to meet you too," I say, unwilling to respond to the latter part of the comment and risk offering encouragement. "See ya." I allow my eyes to follow him as he walks away. He is blond, tall, and well built. Anna would say he's a hottie because he is her type. Chad is also tall, blond, and well built, like Jake. But Jake is not Lee. On the way back to the dock to wait for the shuttle, I stop in my favorite little candy shop and purchase some chocolate. I have made a habit of sharing it with Lee sometime during the cruise. He appreciates that I think of him. When we get back to the ship, I grab a quick lunch at the buffet, smiling at Lee as he helps out behind the line. Most of his dark hair is covered by a paper hat, but I would recognize those eyes and that smile anywhere. Grinning in return, he says, "Happy birthday." "Thank you." "Did you have a good morning?" "I did." "Did you get chocolate?" His voice is teasing. "Of course." After standing there smiling at him a little too long, I tell him, "See you at dinner," and move along to keep from holding up the line, when more than anything, I just want to stay in that spot and not move until he does. "See you at dinner," he says back, and I walk away, briefly catching the smile his coworker gives him. Taking a seat at the table with Anna and Chad, I eat my small meal and return to the cabin for a much-needed nap. At dinner, Lee, Norwood, and Liam sing the birthday song to me, and I make a wish over a piece of chocolate cake. Of course, Lee brought me 2 scoops of ice cream to go with it. Just then, Jake, the guy I met earlier, walks by with another couple. "Happy birthday, Masai," he says, stopping at our table. I had not realized he was seated so close. "Why didn't you tell me earlier it was your birthday?" "Because you were a stranger earlier." "Well, I'm not now, am I?" His tone is flirty, his smile wide. I glance at Anna, and her smile is just as wide. She gives me a blatant look of encouragement. I also see the questions in her eyes. "Who is he, and why did you not tell me you met him?" I briefly glance up at Lee, but he quickly looks away and begins to clear a few empty dishes from the table. "Hey," Jake says, "after you're done with dinner, why don't you join us and let us help you celebrate?" Lee's back is to me, and I watch his shoulders stiffen briefly before he walks away, taking the dishes to the kitchen. "Thanks. I appreciate the offer, but not tonight." "Are you sure?" He tries again, slight disappointment in his eyes. "Yeah, I didn't sleep too well last night, and I'm pretty tired." "Okay, but if you change your mind, we will be in the lounge on the main floor in the atrium." Thanks, I tell him, attempting to infuse sincerity in my voice, not the least bit tempted by his offer. When Jake and his friends leave, I look around for Lee and spot him a few tables away talking with the guest. Girl, that man was fine, Anna says. You should have gone out with them and had some fun. I would have if I was single. I'm right here, babe, Chad reminds his wife, putting an arm around her, and she laughs. I know. She pats his cheek lovingly, just trying to help my sister out. He was fine, but he doesn't have anything on you. I can't help but smile as I watch them. They are both 2 years older than me and have been married for 12 years, and I have never seen two happier people. Even when their kids are driving them crazy, they are happy because they have each other. They have everything I want. Lee finally returns to our table, and I thank him for the wonderful birthday dinner. It was so much fun, and I really appreciate it, I tell him. You are very welcome. I'm happy we could help you celebrate. So am I say, warmth filling me. I keep my eyes from lingering on him, not wanting Anna to glimpse anything in my expression. We all stand to leave. Again, his embrace is warm and his arms are home, but this time it is physically painful to move away. It is because of his touch last night. His touch against my cheek had weakened me, making it harder to keep my feelings hidden. Still, I try. Instead of my usual walk afterwards, I spend this time on my stateroom balcony, not wanting to risk running into Jake. A little after 10, I make my way to the meeting spot on deck. There, I wait for Lee. It is almost midnight and he hasn't shown, and I have an overwhelming urge to cry. Thinking about Jake's earlier invitation, I realize Lee had heard him ask me, but he never heard my answer. Does he think I am with Jake? Did he think I changed my mind about meeting him tonight? Did he forget to come? He had to know I would keep my word. His friendship is too important to me to do otherwise. Or maybe he finally sensed my true feelings for him and decided not to come. I could kick myself for being so transparent. Angry at myself, I blink the tears away, deciding not to wait any longer. I have lost too much sleep as it is and will never be able to function tomorrow. As I stand to leave, suddenly he is here and my heart lightens. I'm so sorry, Masai. Tonight it took a lot longer to close up. It's okay. I smile, my gaze dropping to the gift shop bag in his hand. He gives it to me. Happy birthday. I have to go, but thank you for waiting. Before I can respond, he turns and walks away. I can't fault him. It is so late he will probably be dragging tomorrow as much as I will, and he can't afford to be tired. Goodbye, Lee, I whisper, and head back to my room, choosing to wait until I am there to open the bag. Quickly changing for bed, I say my prayers and pull back the covers, slipping beneath them. Then I open the bag and take out the package. It is wrapped in tissue paper. I tear it open. Inside is a leather-bound journal. It is about 5 by 7 and looks very old. I loosen the leather tie and open it. On the inside of the cover is written, "For you, son. On these pages, begin your life anew. Allow the grief to flow and give it passage. Then forgive yourself and let go. Record the things here that matter." I finger the first page. It is covered in gold leaf work. The pages are trimmed in gold and are thin like tissue paper, making the whole book look like an antique. Leaning back against the pillows, I turn the page and begin to read what I assume to be Lee's handwriting. May 21st. Tonight, for the first time in years, my heart smiled. Her name is Masai. She is the sister of Chad and Anna, two repeat guests that I have come to think on as friends, and she is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. She is tall, a couple of inches taller than me, with rich caramel skin, long dark braids, and a Marilyn Monroe figure, the kind that has always appealed to me. But it was not those things that captured me. It was her spirit, an ingrained kindness that radiated from her. immediately touching me. For the first time in my life, I was instantly drawn to someone. How can this be? It seems I am not dead after all. The past month has been one of pondering. I have some decisions to make. I just need to be brave enough to make them. May 22nd. I glimpsed Masai today at the lunch buffet. She did not see me. Tonight, I found out her birthday was 2 days ago, and this trip is a present to herself. She ordered chocolate melting cake for dessert, and I added an extra scoop of ice cream, wishing her a happy birthday as I served her. She joked with me about knowing the way to her heart. I discovered through the meal that she has a great sense of humor. Like many guests, she asked me about myself. I answered her questions, leaving out the details I do not normally share with people I don't know. She looked so beautiful in her black formal gown. It was modest, but it still loosely hugged her curves, befitting a woman of virtue, for that is how I see her. When I finished my shift, I saw Masai again. She was out walking. She told me insomnia keeps her awake, so she never goes to bed until almost 11. She was heading up to walk on the deck for a few minutes, and before I could stop to think of my actions, I was walking with her. We walked, we talked, and I found myself sharing a few details of my life with her. We talked about my career choice, the pros and cons. I told her of Lana's death. She is a good listener, full of so much empathy and compassion. I could not help but open to her. While we talked, she shared chocolate with me that she bought today on Catalina Island. I know after tonight her friendship will be a treasure to me, one that I will do my best to never lose. May 23rd. Today, Masai spent the day in Ensenada with her family, so I did not see her until dinner. The Mexican sun bronzed her skin, giving her a glow. If it is possible, she is even more beautiful. I took her order first and served her meal first. I did this without thinking. I don't know what that means. Tonight, after the variety show, she came back by to say thank you again. I asked her if she would be out walking, and she said she would. I met her by the pool, and we visited for a few minutes, talking of everything and nothing. Then we said good night. May 24th, Sea Day. I glimpsed her again at lunch today. It is frustrating being unable to go to her, to talk with her. Tonight at dinner, I brought her 3 scoops of ice cream with her melting cake. The scoops really are not that big anyway. Later, when we talked, we discovered a common bond. She is of my faith. I could not believe it. It really should not have been a surprise. The light of Christ shines within her. It shines through her eyes. It has since the moment I met her. Saying goodbye was more complicated than it should have been. It hurt like hell. We exchanged email addresses.